And what she's trying to tell y'all is she want the paper bag test again. Y'all have been played.
Oh, so fabulous.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel once again. It's your girl Dumebi. If this is your first time coming across my channel, you're welcome. I do hope you decide to subscribe. And if you are a returning subscriber, you guys know that I love you. It's so good to have you here once again. Welcome back. So my usual disclaimer, please, this video is strictly for educational purposes. Do not go searching out anybody that I talk about in this video. Don't send them any form of hate comments, threats, or violence. This channel does not support any of that. So there's a video that's currently trending right now that was made by an African American sister. She is a beauty content creator. You guys, her looks are always popping. As someone who loves makeup, I can tell you that she's really talented. Okay, so she made this video that has been causing some diaspora wars. I don't know what it is with these diaspora wars. Okay, I don't know, are these diaspora wars ever going to end? Are we really going to achieve true Pan-Africanism? Because at this point, I don't really know. But anyways, let me just go right ahead and play the video this sister made.
What happened to the Black American beauty creators? I've been in the beauty space for a long time now, and lately I've noticed something. The term Black beauty has been redirected. When you see campaigns, when you see panels, brand activations, PR, the only Black creators being highlighted are African, Caribbean, and Latina descent. All while this is beautiful for inclusivity and these women are beautiful, powerful, where does that leave girls like me? Yeah, where does that leave content creators like me? I'm Black American, I'm not African, I'm not Caribbean, and I'm not Latina. I'm not Afro anything, just Black. Been here generations deep, born and raised in the US, and I don't see myself represented in the Black beauty space anymore. In a way, I feel like the Black American beauty creators, that space has been erased, but I do feel like Black beauty content creators deserve to be in the space created for them. And I really feel like collectively we should take the space back. I would like to hear your thoughts if you feel the same way, or if you've noticed this thing happening. I think it's time to have a conversation.
Okay, so definitely I feel like when it comes to Black beauty, the whole diaspora should be represented. It's just, see, people have been calling out this lady for being xenophobic because of some things she said, talking about how Black American content creators have been erased and how only the African and Caribbean ones are being highlighted, and how these Black American beauty content creators need to take the space back. So there's been, you guys, the comment section. Now, I have some other videos from her, which are videos I believe she made expatiating and talking more about this situation. So let me just play those other two videos.
Black American beauty. That's who I am, that's who I'm speaking to, and that's who this movement is for. Lately, there's been a lot of noise surrounding what I said, what I meant, who I was referring to. So let me make it plain. This isn't about exclusion, it's about inclusion. Real inclusion. I'm talking about making space for the Black American girls who don't see themselves in the current beauty landscape. Not because they aren't beautiful, talented, or deserving, but because what's being sold to us as Black girl luxury isn't really about us at all. Luxury isn't just an aesthetic. It's not a beige hotel, a passport photo, or a Dior candle. Luxury, real luxury, means being compensated fairly, respected deeply, and represented honestly. And some of the loudest voices in this movement have made it clear that they only stand for Black women when it benefits them.
You can pause and just zoom in, because in the video you can see like little clips. Those are actually comments by Jackie Aino. Jackie Aino now goes by Jackie Asamoah. So I think she got married to her boo, right? So those were comments made by Jackie Aino on another person's video. I found the person's video Jackie Aino made those comments on. So obviously this lady decided to screen grab, you know, the comments by Jackie Aino, because Jackie Aino was like commenting on what that person said about this lady's video. Her name is Deja. This whole thing is just messy.
And I know this firsthand. Years ago, I was approached to create content for a brand that preaches Black girl luxury. They never offered payment, just a candle and a contract that would have allowed them to own my content forever. That's not luxury. That's exploitation dressed in rose gold packaging.
I had to watch this video 3 times before I could even understand what she was trying to say, because I'm like, okay, how did the conversation about African American beauty creators not being represented in the Black beauty space, how did it now become a Jackie Aino thing? I couldn't understand until I realized that this brand that she's talking about here, the Forever Mood brand, is owned by Jackie Aino. Jackie Aino, came out with this scented candle some years ago, and she even got some backlash because she named that scented candle after a movement in Nigeria. That phrase that she named the candle was related to police brutality, and people felt that was not what she should have named her candle after, right? So they came for Jackie Aino. I made a video about it, and I also criticized Jackie Aino for that. But regardless, I love Jackie. I love her videos, okay? But I could also understand that that was not right. Anyways, so this lady was talking about when she got an email from Jackie Aino's candle brand about, a possible opportunity where she could make a video about their brand, like a PR video about the candles, but they were not offering her payment. She actually posted screenshots of the contract that this candle brand sent to her, and so I think that is how she started calling out Jackie Aino. I also think Jackie Aino came into the conversation because people in her comment section were talking about, how can you say African American content creators are not represented in the Black beauty space? How about Jackie Aino? I think that was probably how Jackie Aino's name got dragged into this whole thing, because everybody knows Jackie Aino is a Black content creator living in America. Her dad is Nigerian, but her mom is African American, and she was born and raised in America. So in my opinion, she's even more African American because she's been immersed in the culture. Anybody that knows Jackie Aino knows that she actually represents and claims both sides, her African American side and her Nigerian side. So when this lady made this first video talking about how African American content creators are not represented in the beauty space, people were mentioning Jackie Aino, and I think that was how the whole Jackie Aino thing started. So I said, let me explain that to you guys because you might not understand.
And honestly, that kind of treatment is exactly why Black American beauty creators feel shut out before they even begin. It's hard to feel inspired in an industry where the same people who preach equity are the ones quietly perpetuating the very system we're all supposed to be challenging. If we say we're fighting for fairness in beauty, then that has to mean all Black women, not just the ones who fit a certain mold. You can't talk about equity while expecting free labor. You can't build real representation while gatekeeping who gets the mic. And let's not forget, this same voice has silenced people from her own culture for calling out disrespect, like trying to sell a candle named after a police brutality movement. That's not care.
Okay, it's kind I don't know, I got the vibe that this was personal. The fact that Jackie Aino's candle brand sent her that email and wanted her to do a video without payment was terrible. But as someone who's in the beauty space, I'm going to tell you that happens a lot. And people will still do these videos because they feel like they're going to get reposted, they're going to get noticed by other brands by doing these free videos, which it's exploitative. It's exploitative. But for this lady now, this Deja lady, to come out and make it look like Jackie Aino singled her out to send her this kind of contract, exploitative contract, because she's African American, I seriously doubt that. If you got that kind of contract, I can bet my last kobo, my last naira, my last dollar, my last penny that other Black content creators got the same contract as you, including the African ones and the Caribbean ones. So I don't think it's because you're Black American.
That's not representation. That's a pattern. So when I say we need to reframe what luxury means for Black women, I'm not just speaking for myself. I'm speaking for every creator who's ever been overlooked because her skin wasn't deep enough, her roots weren't foreign enough, and her look wasn't algorithm approved. This movement isn't about one voice. We don't need one face. We need many looks, many stories, many Black American girls who deserve to be seen, heard, paid, and respected. I'm not here to recreate a hierarchy. This isn't just about inclusion. It's about equity. It's time to take the mic and not wait for a seat.
She said something about gatekeeping. I've never gotten the vibe that Jackie was gatekeeping anything from anybody. I don't know.
Wow. Because asking to be seen as a Black American beauty content creator is too much now. I've seen a lot of comments like this in my last video. Essentially, Black Americans need to quiet down and let other ethnicities shine because we've had our turn. Let's talk about it. On my last video, when I said, and I really feel like collectively we should take the space back, I want to be clear that I was not talking about taking anything from anyone. What I meant was take it back to a time where Black American beauty content creators were clearly visible and undeniably a part of the conversation, especially here in the US, where this constant space essentially began. Before the brand deals, before the curated campaigns, it was Black American women laying down the foundation for what beauty content creation looks like today. So to say we're the smallest, or to say we should try harder to find one another, is not only unhelpful, it's dismissive, and the point is we should not have to try so hard to find each other. Also, I'm not saying others do not deserve to shine. All I'm saying is that we deserve to shine too. Asking for visibility in our own culture, in our own country, shouldn't be so controversial. This isn't about ego. This is about equity. And I'm going to keep speaking up about it.
You know, when she said asking for visibility in our own culture and in our own country shouldn't be difficult, I'm confused because this is the online space we're talking about. It's not really about your country. It's an online space. It's open to everybody. So you should just ask for visibility, period, not visibility in our country. I don't know. I got confused by that part. Am I the only one who's thinking that? Because anybody from anywhere will follow you as long as they like your work. I don't think when I want to watch a makeup tutorial, I start searching for Nigerian beauty content creators. I personally just search for someone similar to my skin tone. That's what I do. I follow these content creators from all over the African diaspora. I have my Jamaican girls that I watch. I have my UK girls that I watch. I have my African American girls that I watch. And I have my African content creators that I watch. You know, what matters to me is if I like your personality. Yes, I have to like your personality. And if I like your work and if I can relate, like, do you have the same skin tone as mine? Can I watch your makeup tutorials and replicate them on myself? That's what I do. So let's just see what other people had to say about this whole situation.
So apparently Diaspora Wars discourse has reached makeup TikTok. A popular makeup creator whose looks I actually really like made a video basically saying she felt like Black Americans were being excluded from the beauty space and that they need to take it back. She made a few interesting points in that video, one of which was that Black beauty as a concept and the Black beauty influencer space online were both created exclusively by Black Americans. When y'all think of bombshells in Black beauty, who do y'all think of? Because for me, I think of Nia Long, who is Trinidadian, Megan Good, who is half Caribbean, she's Puerto Rican and Bayesian, I think. I think of Jada Pinkett Smith, who is also half Bayesian. In Deja's video, she included a picture of TLC, and Left Eye is half Puerto Rican.
Sincerely, I didn't know a lot of these people had like mixed ancestry, and it's nice because I didn't even know, like, we've been intermarrying in the diaspora, we've been mixing up in the diaspora. It's encouraging. I like that.
Her name is literally Lisa Lopez. If you want to look even further back, Cheryl Lee Ralph, the original Dream Girl, was born and raised in Jamaica. Cicely Tyson, the first Black woman to wear braids on national TV. Both of her parents were born and raised in the Caribbean. Dorothy Dandridge was half Jamaican. Lola Falana was Afro-Cuban. The concept of Black beauty has always been a group project, and a lot of y'all wouldn't know that because contrary to popular belief, we do look alike. Of course, there are a lot of people where you could look at them and immediately tell that they're not African American. There are a lot of people where you would never know. In her video, Deja kept referring to the Black influencing space as something that was founded almost exclusively by Black Americans, when even that isn't true. You know, maybe this is a generational gap, but when beauty YouTube was booming for me, at the forefront was Aaliyah J, who is half Jamaican, Ray Ray, who is also half Caribbean, she's half Bayesian, Arnell and Alyssa Ashley, to my knowledge, are Black American. I don't know if they're mixed or not. Bree Hall, who is Jamaican, and Jackie Aina, who is half Black American, half Nigerian.
You know, I watched some of these people and I didn't even know they had mixed ancestry. I probably didn't even care. The only thing that would have made me even suspect was maybe their accent when speaking, but I didn't consciously go out looking for a certain beauty content creator from a certain region. I just wanted someone who I could learn something from that was Black.
Nigerian. Which brings me to my next point. None of those YouTubers I just mentioned are dark skinned except for Jackie Aina, who appears, at least on camera, because I know that can distort things, to be like milk chocolate brown, so not like a deep dark skin. Now for me, despite how I may appear on camera, my skin tone is pretty deep. And so as a deeper dark-skinned person, I can tell you right now, the rise of immigrant influencers coming up in the space is directly correlated to the fact that around that time is when brands decided to start making shades that match us. And so at least on YouTube, that's when you started seeing the boom of immigrant, deeper, dark-skinned women. Your Patricia Brights, your Nikki Thoughts, your Nima Tangs, your Shalom Blacks, your Monica Style Muses. This was a space that actively excluded us at every level since its conception. You see how they used to do Naomi Campbell's makeup? It was dastardly for us. So many Black American women that have my skin tone. One of my good friends, Trinity, is around my skin tone. We get mistaken for each other a lot. She is a deep South Black American woman, and she doesn't get recognized as Black American. She gets attacked on Twitter every couple of weeks because people think she's lying about being Black American when she isn't. She be posting her, she's literally posted her roots, her family tree. I think her family's from Mississippi, Alabama. People still don't believe her because colorism is such a huge problem in the Black community at large. Deja made that video. A lot of people were in her comments, myself included, asking her thoughts on Jackie Aina. And it's made me curious, and I guess some of you can answer this question in the comments, but how do y'all pick which multi-ethnic Black people that are half Black American, half something else, how do y'all pick which ones you claim as Black Americans and which ones you don't? To me, it's looking like it's based on skin tone, no shade. I've seen so many half African, half African American people who were in tune and raised around both cultures be questioned for days on end. They could post all the proof in the world about who they are and how they grew up, and there are people that are still not satisfied or feel represented by them. And so I wonder what that line is. And so that's part of why all this talk of taking the space back has been so confusing for me, because taking it back from who? Everybody has contributed in some way, shape, or form. Of course, there are aspects of Black culture in America that are exclusively Black American and should be gatekept and are sacred, but this simply is not one of them. This is really frustrating to see conversations like this, because I love studying cross-diasporic Black history. And so I think of in the 70s how Fela Kuti, a very famous African artist, came to America and was inspired by America and went back to Nigeria and created Afrobeat. I think of Stevie Wonder going to Jamaica and taking inspiration from Jamaican culture and Jamaican music and what Bob Marley was doing there with reggae and incorporating that with his sound. Now, there's absolutely something to be said about how all over the beauty industry in all aspects, Africans and deep dark-skinned Africans at that have been exploited and exoticized. But that's not what this conversation was about. The way it was framed literally just opened up the doors for us to disrespect each other, and that's just not okay to me. With that being said, I do wish for more representation for everybody, especially for the deep dark-skinned Black American girl. If anybody has been without a doubt excluded from Black beauty scene at every step of the way, it's absolutely them.
You know what's so hilarious about this? The Black American beauty content creators claim that they want to take back is the fact that when it is brought up that we also need to make sure that we prioritize dark skin Black American beauty influencers, that gets dismissed. Like, let's be real here. You're not trying to really make it diverse for everyone in the room. You were talking about yourself, sis, and I guess maybe, and this is Deja, the makeup artist, because I've already commented on her post, but this is pretty much who this is about. I think that she's pretty much jealous of the fact that she wants more brand deals, or she wants something out of it, and she wants to bring us in the fold with her, because she does not plan to advocating and diversifying the actual space amongst Black American content creators. Because every time I tried to bring up the fact that we need to prioritize dark-skinned Black American influencers, she kept dismissing me and basically saying that that's not the real point that she wants to make. So then what is the point that you're trying to make? Because that's who's leading. That's who's leading. That's who you feel like is taking up your space. See, this is why everything, even off of that statue conversation happened a few weeks ago, this is the real tea. Why in the fuck am I going to go out and break my neck for people that's not even trying to include me like that? When you think of Black American beauty, you ain't thinking about me. You ain't thinking about no fat girl. You ain't thinking about no dark-skinned girl. You thinking about yourself. Hey, so fight your own fucking battle. Don't ask me for a goddamn thing. I'm out. The diaspora girlies up 1,000. Fuck that. Please, bye.
Okay, now you see, one of the points that were being made was about colorism in an African American beauty space, because you can't say that the African American content creators are not getting the spotlight. There are African American content creators that are doing quite well. They have a following, they're getting the visibility. But something that a lot of people pointed out, both in the comment section and videos that were made that I saw, was that a lot of these African American content creators that are having the visibility are not dark skinned. They are maybe biracial, they are light skinned, maybe brown, but not dark skinned girls. And this is actually the void that these Caribbean and African content creators that are popping right now are filling up. Does that make any sense? So the dark-skinned African American content creators are not getting the views, and it created a void which the Caribbean and African girlies are filling in. And because now these African and Caribbean content creators are mostly dark-skinned, you know, they are now really, really popping, especially because now in shade inclusivity, most makeup brands are making makeup for darker skinned people. So these dark skinned people from these other regions of the diaspora are getting more visibility, and that is what this lady Deja is interpreting as, oh, Black American people are no longer getting visibility. So a lot of people are saying the real issue here is colorism in the African American beauty space, and not that African American content creators have been erased, as she puts it, right?
I've been seeing this conversation about there not being enough African American representation in the beauty influencer landscape in the United States, and I definitely have thoughts. Let's start here. There is no social capital or cachet that comes with branding yourself as African American. We do not have a nomenclature that is universally accepted by everyone. Comments on this topic often devolve with people coming up with all their own names, which often have movements behind them, and then like a tussle over even if we want to be called African American or Black American and who can call themselves Black American. Then our culture is very porous. Everybody can come in, participate, and co-opt if they want to. And I think at the base of a lot of these conversations about our representation within the Black diaspora in the United States, that is the basis of resentment, and it's very valid. And it's not a reciprocal relationship, which leads to that resentment. And I understand it because there is not another ethnic group than African Americans, the way people can move here and because they are perceived as Black, automatically become Black American. And then they participate in our cultural movements, our cultural norms, our cultural institutions. And we can't do the same with their cultural norms and institutions unless they invite us in. Somebody would have to walk us in the way that they don't have to be walked in. And then we don't have a flag. We don't have a flag that's universally accepted by everyone, that people recognize, and that is an emoji that can be easily used. I think I'm on my fourth point here. Every time this conversation comes up, it's almost always talking about African Americans versus Nigerians. Nigerians are one of the only nationalities within the Black diaspora that have a social capital and cachet to branding yourself as Nigerian hyphen wherever you live. One, that flag is simple and you can recognize it from 20 miles away. You know how small people's handles show up when they leave a comment on a post here on TikTok? You can still clearly see that flag when they post it as part of their handle. Then, Nigeria is the 6th most populous country in the world. Just from a numbers game, there's not anywhere in the world where you can go and you won't find an Indian, Chinese, and a Nigerian man. On this scale, it does behoove influencers to lean into their heritage to get more engagement. And then that Black girl in luxury movement, which morphed into soft girl life, a term straight from Nigeria, they got it. And I know, as a content creator who's gone to a lot of events, I know how they gather, and I know how exclusionary it can feel, especially when everybody gets to show up to the Black women in beauty event, but then they go throw a Nigerian Black excellence dinner and you can't go, babes.
I think I get what she's saying. Like, once anybody of African descent gets to America, they can easily fit into the Black space, but they still have their own cultural spaces that the African Americans can't get into. I definitely understand that. And by the way, this is Juicy. She's a YouTuber. Shout out.
Nothing you can't invite them to, though. I get it. I mean, maybe you could be a guest, but you're certainly not being recognized in the way that they get recognized. Yeah. What are you gonna do about it at this point? Because the last gag is, name all the OG African American beauty content creators that you think started this landscape and that you now miss. And let's clock how many of them are actually African American. I also saw in the comments from Deja, who started this conversation, somebody mentioned Clark, and she said, well, Clark is lifestyle. In 2025, you can't really keep up a hard boundary between beauty and lifestyle. Because beauty content, whether it's hair, makeup, or skincare, where you're producing content around doing something to your physical body, it's just tedious and wears a person down. Sure. So everyone very quickly, either they don't necessarily pivot, but they interloop into their content lifestyle stuff because it's just easier to do, and it behooves people to start yapping and have a personality to bring in a bigger audience. Almost all the OG girls, a lot of them are still active, they just don't do hardcore beauty content, and they have moved into lifestyle because that's what allows them to sell stuff to their audience. But I guarantee if we compose a list of OGs, you'd be shocked, especially if they're from New York, how many of them do have immigrant heritage.
You know, this is another point Juicy is making, because when you really look into like the beauty space, the people who started doing makeup on YouTube, who basically, like started the whole Black beauty content creation, when you really check their backgrounds, you'll be shocked to find out that a lot of them have immigrant heritage. A lot of them have, heritage from other parts of the African diaspora that's not just Black American. So this is just basically telling Deja that, okay, yeah, you're saying we need to take back the space as Black Americans, but it was never really just us that had the space in the first place, It's just a lot of people now are probably more open about their real heritage, and probably the fact that they have immigrants, parents or grandparents, because now it is cool to be African. People are embracing their Africanness more. So you can see some of them actually talking about, repping their African side. And now you might now know that, oh, this person was always not just Black American. But as of then, you did not know that. So yeah, I get what she's trying to say.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It is just the makeup of the United States currently. And I think the bigger problem, honestly, to close this out, because this is getting really long and it needs to be a YouTube video, the real problem for African-American women are the biracials. Sorry, guys, the colorism in the industry is really what be eating our asses up. it do just be feeling weird because Nigerians be gathering in a very specific way that's like, you can't sit with us. So that's, I get it. When you be going to the events and you can't, I get it. You know, if you made it this long in the video, shout out to you, but P.S. Somebody in the comments was like, we need to do more work with Danessa Myricks as like the African-American brand. Danessa Myricks, does that sound like an African-American name? And 2, she's from Queens. That lady got a 98% chance of having at least one immigrant parent. Some people just don't like talking about their parents, and that is what it is. It's fine. Maybe we could just encourage the girls to be more regionally proud of where they are from and understand. Also, a lot of Black influencers don't know they have a culture. As African Americans, they don't understand what the cultural markers are to discuss. So education would help here. We should take the space back.
Okay, I genuinely want to know, how does this sound any different from Americans saying immigrants are taking our jobs, Mexicans are taking our jobs, Latino people are taking our jobs? How does that sound any different? The idea of taking back. Nobody took anything from you. I love conversations like this, and I also hate them, mainly because they invite so much xenophobia. And some tones can come off very xenophobic, like taking back and, oh, where's our thing, where's this, instead of why can't we all sit in a space? And in my opinion, it kind of pushes the idea that those people from other cultures, I'm Jamaican, I am also not a US resident, which I'm going to get into because I'm also a content creator, but it pushes the idea, it pushes the narrative that they're also not working hard and they're not deserving. And I think it's really disingenuous to think that conversations like that don't spark those narratives and don't push that kind of rhetoric, because it does. We are not the enemy. Other people with other cultures are not the enemy. The enemy is white supremacy and systematic racism. I'm a Jamaican born and raised content creator. I've been in the industry for almost 8 years now, and just the difference in how social media is now compared to when I first started out, insane. I'm finally just now being able to get recognition from North America and get certain opportunities because I don't have that American privilege, which I feel like a lot of Black Americans forget.
American privilege is a real thing, isn't it? It just makes me remember when TikTok was banned in the US. That was when a lot of other people were finally getting visibility. So American privilege is a real thing.
Get that they have. Regardless of your intention, it will always be xenophobic once you're talking about taking back. Nobody took anything from you. Nobody but white people took anything from you. People of other cultures who are being featured now and celebrated have also worked hard. And I don't like this narrative that we took things, they took things. When I first started my content creator journey, I saw majority Black American women in the spaces, in the natural hair space, in the makeup space, in the beauty space in general, YouTubers, all of that. And I didn't sit and complain about no Jamaican representation. I showed up as a Jamaican until eventually other people got inspired, other people started sharing too, and are very obnoxious and loud about their culture. At one point in my life, majority of my friends, because I went to school in the US at one point, were Black Americans. And even before that, I was exposed to a lot of Black American culture. And I was able to appreciate and respect, and a lot of that culture also kind of brushed off on me too, just the same way a lot of Jamaican culture, especially in major US cities, in New York for example, is really big and it's a huge part of New York culture. I say that to say I think it's very important to show up and show off your culture. If you see a New Yorker, they're gonna tell you they're from New York. Somebody from Miami, somebody from Atlanta, they're gonna tell you where they're from. What's wrong with that? Nothing. And personally, I think many Black Americans can do more of that. What's wrong with repping where you're from? Megan Thee Stallion reps Houston like no other. Nothing is wrong with that. So are you really saying there's no representation, or are you just not looking for the representation? I am chronically online, especially in the beauty community, and majority of the Black women that I see on beauty campaigns are Black American women, because I see them and I support them. I see them more than I see women from my own culture being featured on campaigns, being featured with brands, on brand trips, etc. This is not to say, oh, you can't complain about it. It's just, please go and support the people. Please prop them up, just like how people from my community, people from the Caribbean, Jamaica, etc., we prop up and we support our own people.
There has been an increase in anti-Black immigrant, anti-first generation, children of immigrant sentiment on this app, and I find we cannot talk about it, or every time we address it, we are punched down on and kind of gaslit because people are putting it under the guise of Black pride, more specifically FBA pride. As a result, I want to be sensitive about what I say and how I say it, while also acknowledging the fact that I will not be gaslit, that what we are seeing occur on this app is absolutely xenophobia, More specifically, it's anti-African xenophobia. And again, I've been seeing this conversation flare. It's been happening a lot over the past 2 years, but more recently, it has flared after this conversation about there being a lack of Black American representation in the beauty industry. And to that I say, your issue is not with Black African immigrants. Your issue is with the colorism that is present in this country. The colorism that is present in a lot of countries, more specifically countries that have been colonized by the West. It is what it is. But the lack of representation, Black American representation, the idea that the beauty industry they need to take it back from Black African immigrants and first generation children of Black immigrants of the diaspora. We don't need to take anything back from us because we are not the ones responsible for whatever you feel is a takeover of your space. What is actually happening is we are now starting to see more inclusive makeup that encompasses darker skin tones. And when you are seeing those darker skin tones, we have to, let's put our thinking caps on, right? Very dark-skinned Black people are very likely going to be coming from where? Africa, the Caribbean. As brands are becoming more inclusive of darker skinned people, wouldn't it make sense that they would want to see that makeup being modeled on people who are darker skinned, and those people may statistically be coming from countries closer to the equator? Put your thinking caps on here for a second. Your call for inclusion and seeing more representation doesn't have to come at the exclusion of Black African immigrants and first generation children of immigrants in this country, especially since, whether you like it or not, we are Black in this country and we are having a Black experience in this country, because I am a first generation child of Nigerian immigrants. And when people decide they want to discriminate against me, they don't come up to me and ask me, are you FBA? Are you an African descendant of slaves? No, they just be discriminatory and racist towards me. So what are we talking about here? Your representation does not have to come at our exclusion. It doesn't have to come at us being removed from the space. I'm sorry, we're here. If you want to see more Black Americans represented in the beauty space, support the Black American women that are killing it and doing their jobs and doing what they're supposed to do. Support them. I don't understand why people come on this app and talk about what they hate. Talk about what you love. Talk about who you love. Put them on a pedestal. And if you're not getting the representation you want, if you're not getting the views you want, if you're not getting the likes, clicks, views, shares, and followers, that has nothing to do with us. Colorism is your issue. Thank you.
What's it take you to 50 moms? Minerva. When I saw that video of that content creator saying that it wasn't enough African Americans being represented in the beauty industry, I honestly felt like she was really talking about light-skinned women. She just used the diaspora to hide the fact that she is mad that more dark-skinned women are being represented more in the beauty industry. This is not about diaspora issues or who's being represented more. It's really about colorism. I'm not even going to mention ethnicity. I'm just going to say Black women in general. When Black women was showed back in those days, a majority of them was light-skinned. It wasn't that many Black women that was my shade and darker. It wasn't that many Black women that was dark-skinned. And what she's trying to tell y'all is, she want the paper bag test again. Y'all have been played.
There's something about the way she said it. You know, a lot of people disagree with the original creator, content creator, but in the comment section, there are definitely people that agree with what she's saying. And I think her comment section really gave way to a lot of xenophobia. And yes, I'm saying xenophobia because people are on the whole, yes, there's an erasure of African American people in media or in entertainment or whatever. I don't know. And please, you guys, let me know if you think this is a real thing, because I don't. Okay, first of all, her saying that they need to take the space back because they've been erased from the face of Black beauty in content creation. I'm like, okay, so how did that happen? Was it that Black American people stopped creating beauty content, or they are actually beauty content creators who are Black American, but they don't have the visibility? And is it because of the algorithm, or is it because they are not getting support from their community or from other Black people of the diaspora? Or is it because Africans and Caribbeans have started entering into the content creation space more? Like, what is the reason? It would have been more productive if she had come out and said, I acknowledge that there's been a lot of growth in the beauty content space and we're seeing a lot more of our African and Caribbean people, and I just want to use this opportunity to shout out my Black American content creators that are holding it down. And then she uses that opportunity to actually put other African American girlies who are holding it down. She actually now gives them a shout out and then tells people in the comment section, if you know any others, please drop them in the comment section. Wouldn't that have made more sense than, oh, my fellow African American content creators, we have been erased. It is only the Africans and Caribbeans, and now we have to take that space back. I mean, that was what her video was given. And I believe all aspects of the diaspora should be represented, but don't make it look like because there's been a growth in one other part of the diaspora, because of that, there's now a decline in another part. Mind you, it is an online space. All the beauty content creators are all creating videos online. And we already know as Black people, our content can already be affected by the algorithm anyways. And mind you, these African and Caribbean content creators that you're looking at are working so hard. I used to be one of them before I started making these commentary videos. And I can tell you that before we get the visibility, it is a problem. A lot of these content creators that are even living in Africa, I don't know about the Caribbeans, but a lot of them living in Africa are not even getting paid like that as you think. They might have the views. Bear in mind that we also have the numbers. I mean, compare the population of Nigerians to the population of African Americans. If other Nigerians were to follow me, of course, my platform would be bigger than, say, an African American. I mean, the population might be smaller than when compared to Nigeria. I mean, Juicy said that. So if it's a numbers game, it makes sense that maybe the Caribbeans and the Africans might even have a larger following. But the truth is, nobody's really checking for ethnicity when they are looking at beauty content creators like that. So I don't think anybody is singling out African American content creators to not follow them. The erasure that she's perceiving is not something that was done. I really don't know what it is. Maybe it really is colorism, because you can even see a lot of the African American ladies that spoke mentioned that. But now we are in an era where there's more inclusivity, where brands are creating products for darker skinned people. Of course, there's going to be a rise of other darker skinned people, which are very likely going to come from Africa and the Caribbean. I think she might have been raising a concern, yes, but the way it was worded definitely highlights a lot of xenophobia, and it is quite sad. A lot of these African content creators are not paid like you think. When I was doing those makeup videos, some of these brands, when they send me an email and I tell them I am here in Nigeria, they stop talking to me because they don't want to send anything all the way here. They don't think Africans can even buy their product, or maybe because of the shipping fee. So some of us, even getting some of these brands, are even willing to do these videos for free, just because we feel that it is a platform for them to have even reached out to us, that it is an honor and we are being placed on a bigger international platform. And also, I would tell you that the views that come from other African countries don't pay as much as views that come from Western countries. So even the African American people or other African immigrants in the US are getting paid more than these African content creators back home. So I'm just trying to tell you that there really isn't much happening for you to even feel like we are taking anything from you, because we are over here just trying to make it and trying to survive. And I believe the sky is big enough for all of us to shine as Black people. It's a shame that, I mean, diaspora wars and xenophobia has come into the content creation space. But anyways, you guys let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think there's an erasure of African American representation in media, in the content creation space, in entertainment? Please let me know. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.